Hey, Sinise. Um, all right, so thanks eighth grade families for hanging in there, for joining us at 7:30. We really just wanted to, normally we host an eighth grade parent meeting. Obviously, because of the current situation, we can't do that. So we wanted to provide a forum for folks that may have questions about the eighth grade application process. Um, and so we are here for that purpose. Ariella put it in the chat earlier, but in case you did not see it, the high school application is due February 23rd. Long story short, if you are planning to continue at MELS, which most of our students do, approximately 90% of our students continue on at MELS, you just need to put MELS as your number one choice, and you are done. You're done for the next 4 years. Our eighth graders have priority. They have a guaranteed seat at MELS as long as they put MELS as number one. We're going to walk through a little bit about like what the different things that students can do on their application, but I do just want to start by saying that you know, for those of you who this is your first time applying to high school or you're not familiar with MELS High School, MELS High School is actually one, and I'm not trying to sell you on this. Like, look, if you want to go somewhere else, you can go somewhere else. We'll miss you, but MELS High School has approximately 2,500 applicants for what end up being about 20 seats. So we have one of the highest applicant to seat ratios in the entire city. Our school had, oh my God, look at that baby. Our high school is one of the highest performing high schools in New York City in terms of graduation rate, college acceptance rate, college persistence. We are the number one unscreened school, high school in the city in those different areas. Our high school has been recognized by the state for various things. So, you know, one of the benefits to being a middle schooler at MELS is you get a guaranteed seat in high school if you want it. And it's a seat that literally thousands of other people are trying to get. So the speech Finley and I usually give to the eighth graders, we go around to all their classes normally, is if you are applying anywhere outside of MELS, understand we are going to make sure it is a place where you're going to be known well, you're going to be taken care of, and that is going to take care of you. So we can talk a little bit more about the nuts and bolts of that, but first I want to give Mr. Finley a minute to speak.
And I only get a minute? That doesn't seem fair at all. But it's good to see everybody. And thanks for parents who were at the 7:00 meeting. And just for understanding, I'm sure at 7:25 when the music was playing, you're like, why can't I ask my questions? But McCord and I, it's just better to have the whole group together just to be fair and getting all those questions answered. And so McCord and I don't forget who we answered, what question was answered. So thanks for your patience. And the second thing I just want to say is, just a reminder, middle school is wonderful and it should definitely be marked as an occasion when you finish middle school. But your graduation ceremonies where you get diplomas from the state and institutions, those take place in 12th grade in college and beyond. So MELS, we do refer to our passage from middle school to high school as passages. So I do just kind of want to name that for families who aren't familiar. And we do, when we're in person, a lot of cool things at the end of the year. We do some crew trips. We do a passages ceremony. We do passages panel. There's a passages fancy dance. Like all of those things go on when we're in the building. And I just kind of want to name those for parents right now of, yes, we do have those opportunities. I don't want them to get lost in the shuffle. And when we have information about whether they can happen or not, we promise to share that information with all of you. So Please don't ask us every week between now and April if they're going to happen, but know that there are activities planned, and if we get back in the building and can hold them, we will. We do think marking rites of passage are important. I mean, clearly the big one for us is high school graduation, and we will work to make that happen. But there are 8th grade events that are important to us too, that mark this transition into high school. So we do want to kind of just name that. We tonight, again, we do want to just talk specifically about the application. We do an 8th grade parent meeting every year. So, this is the not in-person version, because it is important to get this information out. And again, as you're going through the application, you're in like one of 3 boats. The first boat is like, I'm going to MELS. And if that's the case, just put MELS on the application and you're done. The second boat is, hey, I know the Miss Mills School for Awesomeness and the Miss Barcia School for Exceptional Students, and they're really great, and we're going to apply there. And again, look, we wish you the best of luck if that's the case, but it sounds like you've researched those schools. They seem like great schools by the title, so good luck. But there's this third boat we always worry about, where sometimes in middle school, adolescents just decide they're tired of the uniform or the same people, and the high school book can be a big book, or the online, go online and just read like, oh, there's a school for law and justice. I'm going to apply there because I like law. I do just want to, again, caution everyone, especially during this time where you're not in buildings, of like, please only apply somewhere and only rank schools above MELS if you are absolutely confident in the type of school and education that you'll be receiving. So again, there are those 3 boats of students, and we are here to answer any questions that you have along the way. So again, for those that came late, just being really clear, you're going to rank schools. If you put MELS down first, that's it. In any school you rank above MELS, if you get matched there, that will be the school that you're going to. So if I rank Miss Mills School for Awesomeness 1, Miss Barcia School for Exceptional Students 2, and MELS 3, and I don't get into Miss Mills School, but I get into the Miss Barcia School for Exceptional Students, that's it. It's goodbye to MELS, you're going to the Barcia School, and that's it. In the past, sometimes people are excited to go to the Barcia School, and then sometimes people in June realize they made a mistake. And I do just want to put out there, like, it's important that you really know that that's what you want if you apply, because once you're gone and attached to another school, that will be your match. Just kind of naming the process, naming those pieces, and I'm going to hand it back to Mr. McCord just to kind of bring it home.
So just really quickly, want to underscore, if you list a school above MELS and get matched there, you don't have the option, like that is where you're going to school, and your spot at MELS will be filled by one of the thousands of other people that are applying for that spot. Okay, so if you're placing anything above MELS, really, really important that you understand what you may be losing as a result. Some of you have asked questions about, and either Jared or Jared's parent just asked, if you list a school above MELS and you don't get matched there, wherever MELS is on your application is your stopping point. Okay, so if you list 5 schools above MELS and MELS is number 6, if you don't get in any of those 5 schools, MELS will be your stopping point and you'll be at MELS.
We will welcome you back. We'd love to have you back.
Exactly. But I can't imagine you'd find 5 schools you'd rather go to than MELS, but that's another conversation altogether. Some of you have applied to specialized high schools. Now that is a totally separate process. So you have your main round, which is MELS, any other screen school, and we'll talk about the different types in a minute. But then the specialized high schools is a separate process. So if you are applying to one of the 9 specialized high schools, you would have already done that and been registered for the exam, which we are giving next week. which maybe you've seen us in the paper or whatever. We've been raising all kinds of heck about it. But if you take the specialized high schools test and you do really well and you get an offer to a specialized high school, when you get your offer letter at some point in the spring, I was on a training today and they don't even want to give a date of when these offer letters are going out. You will get 2 offers. If you did really well and you got an offer to a specialized high school, you will get an offer to a specialized high school and you'll get an offer to your main round school. So the letter will say you have an offer to, Queen's Sciences at York College, which is one of the specialized high schools, and you have an offer to MELS. Let's say you put MELS as number 1. You will then have to make a choice of which school you're going to apply to or that you're going to enroll in. Okay. Some people have turned down offers at specialized high schools to continue at MELS. Some people have gone to specialized high school. We're not here to help you make that decision. But the way that works is main round is separate. So for an example, if let's say I really wanted to go to LaGuardia and so I applied to LaGuardia in my specialized high school round, but then I knew that I didn't want to go anywhere other than MELS if it wasn't LaGuardia. So I put MELS as number 1 on my main round application. If let's say I tripped during my dance routine at the LaGuardia audition and didn't do well, didn't get an offer there, I still have my main round choice of MELS. So if MELS is my number 1 choice, I'm going to MELS, I'm good, I can still dance, whatever. If I killed it at my audition, which I tend to do when it comes to dancing, then I will have that choice of going to LaGuardia or continuing at MELS. Okay, so that's how the specialized high schools works. It's a separate process than the main round application. Okay, but I don't want to spend too much time talking about specialized high schools because not many of our students apply. And like I said, the vast majority of people continue on at MELS, graduate, go to great colleges, all that jazz. So if there are any questions, well, first, Finley, is there anything you would add, or Ms. Mills, anything you would add?
No, I'm a little stuck on your dance routine, but no, nothing else I would add.
And again, somebody put it in the chat about SHSAT. If that's what you're doing, that's fine. We've never held anybody back from applying to specialized high schools or any school from that matter. But sometimes we get these applications that have a bunch of schools that we do not think are very solid schools, and then MELS doesn't appear anywhere on the application. We will definitely reach out and have a conversation about that because we don't want a student to go somewhere that's not going to take care of them. So we're very hands-on with this process.
And again, you just reminder, look, if you're taking the specialized high school test, you just sign up, you come in next week and you take it, and then you'll hear. There's really not much more to it than that. If the building's closed again, we'll reach out. The district has said that there'll be a backup plan. So there's no, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. The building is open as of now for next Wednesday. So specialized high school tests will take place next Wednesday for those that are signed up, and we'll administer it. And that's pretty much it.
Mr. Finley, I do have a question.
Sure.
So when the DOE had advised you if there will be a backup plan in case the building closes again on February 10th for the SHSAT, how much ahead of time would the DOE be informing us, that we would need to go to another building or even where that building would be?
Well, the original date for the SHSAT, they told us that it wouldn't happen about 20 hours before the exam. So I would anticipate that it would be last minute and come from the DOE. And you know, they have given us, we have sent many emails, because as some of you may know, we spoke out in the press at length that we do not think that this plan is the best one for students across the city. That we understand there has to be a test administered, but the disorganization in administering this plan and forcing families to come in who might have signed up for remote learning does not seem like a good plan. And the result has been confusion and chaos in many instances. So again, to answer your question, we would anticipate that the information would come late, and when we get it, we would provide it by phone call.
I think, Mr. McCord, I will have to tag you again in the DOE and Chancellor Carranza on my Twitter rage feed about the SHSAT and how they are not serving either the students nor the educational community, but that's a separate story. You know, I do hope they will undertake the test, because I know that SAGE, for example, had 250 kids or 120 kids take it. So I'm really hoping that the 20 kids in MELS can take it. If it's not in MELS, then somewhere else. And I hope they do give us ahead of time.
Well, I want to be clear, like it's not like, you know, anybody's doing an awesome job of like Halsey had 1 million kids. Like they're administering it everywhere. I want to reassure you, you'll get an opportunity to take the test. Like I definitely don't want anybody to panic or worry. Like, and we appreciate you, your references to the frustration with the planning of this. But again, I do just want to be clear. There's not going to be any instance where the test is just like, oh, too bad you go to MELS, you didn't get to take it. Like that won't happen. There will be a plan. We have been assured of that. So.
Well, I'm sorry, it's not your fault, I know. It's just like, I don't want to hear the DOE at 6 a.m. in the morning saying you have to drive to Staten Island to take the damn test. Pardon my French.
We also do not want any families to have to hear that or worse. But there will be some kind of opportunity provided. And again, you know, our hope is, as of right now, the building's open. Let's all hope the building's open and we can administer this Wednesday and move forward. So that is our hope at this point.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And if you have follow-up questions, let us know. We know it has to be frustrating to the lack of information.
And tell Olin we miss him.
Oh, he misses you guys too.
Any other questions? It can be about the SHSAT, or it can be about the main round application, different scenarios. We don't, like I said earlier, we don't need to know the ins and outs of what you and your family are discussing. If you want to have that conversation, Finley and I are happy to have individual conversations. But if you have questions about how it all works, we're happy to answer those.
So what's the difference between the main applications and the specialized high school application?
Hi, Sanaya. So the main round, everyone must do a main round application. So the main round is the vast majority of all the high schools in New York City. So everyone must do a main round. The specialized high schools option is, those are, you know, heavily screened schools. You have to either audition or take a test to get entrance into those. There are only 9 of them across the entire city. Most students in New York City don't attend them. So yeah, like if you haven't applied to those schools, it's fine. You still go through a main round process, which you know, is the one that MELS is in, and almost every other school in New York City. So there was a question earlier about screen versus educational option. So screens are where there are certain criteria that are put in high schools application processes. So there's a question about Sinatra in the chat. Sinatra is a performing arts high school, so they have some sort of screen to like, I don't know if it's an audition or what it is, but you have to pass a certain thing to be considered for that. Certain schools like Townsend Harris have a lot of academic screens that they like rank students and things of that nature. Educational option is a different kind of screen. That's where the school selects certain numbers of students from different academic thirds across the city. And so the school gets to choose some of their students, and then the other students are placed there by the DOE. We at MELS, we don't believe in screens, so we're an open enrollment school. So, you know, open enrollment in so much as like, you know, we have our 8th graders that are continuing. So, you know, there's not like a chance that there are a ton of new students coming into MELS, because most of our 9th grade class will be our 8th graders continuing. But basically with MELS, if you, it's similar to 6th grade. Like if you are interested in applying, you can apply, and we're not screening you out.
How many schools can we apply to again? 12?
Hi, Tanaya.
I missed it from.
I do want to just put out there, like, you can apply to lots. It used to be up to 12. Is that still it, McCord? But it's lots. But like, I want to be really clear. We do not recommend for anyone applying out to lots and lots of schools. That is not really something that has been successful for students in the past. Again, MELS is a really solid school. And if there are a couple of schools you're looking at, like, we totally understand, but for ranking up to like 9 or 10 schools, what we have seen is students in that case often get matched to their 8th or 9th school, and it is not a happy match. So again, just want to kind of name that. We do not recommend applying to lots and lots and lots of schools. If you are in a position where you're like, no, it's a special position, and we would recommend talking to like Miss Scheckman, myself, McCord, or Miss Mills. But again, like so Sanaya, your question was how many can you apply to, and the answer is quite a few. But again, we really recommend you focusing on schools that you know are great schools that you've researched and hopefully been to as like your priority schools. Does that make sense, Tanaya?
Yes, I don't know how to sign up to do the town halls, like not the town halls. What is it called? It's like the meetings like you did to come to before you came to MELS. Can't.
Gotcha. Well, the good news is you do not have to come to an open house. You are guaranteed a seat. So we do a high school open house, but we did that for students who were in other middle schools. So kids that are at.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I was talking about like for other high schools. I don't know how to sign up for it.
That depends on the high school that you're applying to. So the best thing that you should do, if there are a couple of high schools that you're looking at, you should reach out directly to that high school to find out what because some schools have auditions, some have screens, some have open houses, some don't. There are hundreds of high schools out there. So again, at this point, you should reach out to the school. And then if they say you need some documentation from MELS, then you email Ms. Scheckman and she'll help you with that documentation.
But
Thank you.
I do want to remind people, like, as you're scrolling through the different pages and admissions pages for schools across the city, it is really easy to look good on paper or on a website. So, you know, if there's a school that's like, oh, we have this amazing STEM program, and you know, our students are studying to be scientists, but you don't know anything about that school, we would really caution you to make sure you have done your homework. You've looked at the learning environment survey, you've looked at their graduation rate, you've looked at the attendance rate of their students, you've looked at how their students do once they go to college. Do they continue, you know, 3 semesters into college? Really, really important pieces. Don't get caught up in the flashy thing that's on their that's on their page. It's really important that you do your homework.
So, I know that sometimes it comes across that Mr. McCord and I are trying to like sell the school. We're really trying to balance of like reminding people like it is a great school and giving some cautionary tales of students that made some poor choices, and balancing that out with families that are going to apply out. Like we never want to talk people into staying. Like I want to be clear that that is not our goal. Like, if your mind's made up and you're looking at some schools, then you're going to apply to those schools, and we understand. But again, like we feel a huge responsibility to our students and families to make sure that we get information out there. And again, for anybody who moves on, they're only going to great schools. Like that is our purpose.
Mr. Finley, can I just add one more thing? I think I spoke with the family last week. I think a part that feels extra, well, there's a lot of things that feel extra hard for everyone right now, but one of the pieces that we're not able to do is a lot of our POLs that have been open invitations to our 6 through 12 community, or, opportunities to be in the building and see what's going on in the world of high school feels that much more difficult and hard right now. So if you have questions about what's going on in the high school, or what experiences are like for our 9th through 12th graders, like I really encourage you to reach out. Ms. Sheckman, myself, Mr. McCord, Mr. Finley, like happy to pass that along, happy to, share information about what life is like as a 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grader. So just really encourage families to do that as well, because I know that can feel, used to be able to be in the hallway during SLCs or be able to talk with some folks at dismissal or things like that. And we recognize that feels that much harder right now. So please reach out. We're happy to have those conversations.
Well, we just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. It is good to have some families come out where we can clear up some questions. We appreciate it. If you have follow-up questions, again, Ms. Mills, myself, Mr. McCord are happy to answer questions. Ms. Sheckman is the counselor who is who you should reach out to by email with a specific question from the school counselor. If anybody wants to stay on and you have an individual question, we're happy to answer it. But, we just wish everybody a wonderful evening and hope you have a good night.
Good night, all. We miss you.
Thank you.
Before we go, I have one thing to say.
Good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Mr. McCord, Mr. Finley. I did Nadia's application and I only put MELS on there. And towards the end, it gave me like this error message that, oh, you didn't fill